The Hollow Hour.
I can't believe I'm sitting here typing this, but I am. I need to get this off of my chest. I've lived alone for the better part of 3 years, and my life has been pretty great. I'm single, I have no debt besides my house, and I have a job that pays pretty good. My house sits on about a quarter of an acre. It's at a dead end on a quiet street. There's about 8 houses that line on either side of the street. Every other week, I host a small get together at my place. Nothing too big. It's just me and my close friends. We all hang out, play some games, and maybe drink too much. Just typical guy stuff. Last week, me and all my buddies were sitting out back by my fire pit, just talking about any and everything. My buddy James stole the conversation by asking if we had heard about a new rumor going around town. James liked to inflate certain things and make them seem way worse than what they actually were. I said no and asked him if he was going to do one of his scary stories that he was so famous for. He straightened up and said no, seriously. I've heard this rumor that there's a man wearing a black button shirt with slacks and dress shoes walking around late at night, and he approaches people who are alone. I just laughed at him. This obviously sounded like a joke, but James just brushed it off. He told me that I should just be cautious about people wandering late at night, especially since I live alone. The last thing James said kind of scared me though. He said the man will approach houses sometimes and knock on the door. He said that he heard if you answer the knock, the man will ask if you're alone. I brushed it all off together, but I'll admit what James talked about that night sat in the back of my mind, and I wish I would have listened. Later that week, I had just gotten home around 8 o'clock from work. I was in the process of cooking myself something to eat when I got a notification on my Ring camera. There is a person at your front door. Then I heard 3 steady knocks. This was followed by a monotone hello. I froze. There's no way this is actually happening. Then I thought, you know what? I bet this is James. He would do something like this to scare me. I opened my app and looked through my camera. Standing on my porch was a man who was not James. This man looked to be in his early 40s. He was well groomed and wore a black button shirt with slacks and dress shoes. His hands were in his pockets, and he was staring directly into my camera. His eyes were wide, and I can't be certain, but it seemed like his skin was gray. He also wore a weird smile, like he had learned how to smile from a book. It wasn't genuine. My heart began racing. I wasn't sure what to do. I convinced myself that maybe this man just needed help. I pushed the speak button and asked him if everything was alright. Without blinking, the man just said hello again. I waited a few seconds. I wasn't sure how I should continue. Finally, I said, "Hey, is everything alright? It's kind of late." I watched him as his mouth opened, and he asked me another question. "Are you alone?" My heart sank into my stomach. I quickly responded no, that my buddy James is here with me. The man just simply smiled, that weird smile. I was finally fed up and I said, "Look, man, it's late and I need to get some sleep for work tomorrow. Could you just please leave my property?" He didn't say anything. He just stood there. After what seemed hours, I finally climbed into bed and dozed off. When I woke up to get ready for work, I checked my camera. He was gone. I went further into the night and I almost screamed. From 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., that man stood on my porch, looking directly into my camera. He never even moved. The same spot and the same wide eyes staring upwards. Later that day, on my lunch break, I called James and told him everything. He was usually an easygoing guy, always filled with jokes and something crazy to say in every conversation. But after I told him everything, he was all business. He told me he was coming over to stay the night after work. I was taken aback, but before I could say anything, he just said, "Trust me, man. You don't want him coming back the second night, and you're still alone." I agreed with him. Plus, I wasn't one for rejecting company after something like this happened the night before. Around 8:30, James knocked at my door. I let him in and we just hung out like it was one of our usual hangout sessions. Around 10 p.m. is when all that changed. 3 knocks and a hello came from the front door, just like last night. Me and James froze and looked at each other. This was starting to terrify me, but at least I wasn't alone this time. I opened the camera app. Standing there was the same man from last night, and again looking directly into my camera. James looked at me and said, "Talk to him, but just tell him that you're not alone." I took a deep breath and pressed the speak button. I told him that I'm not alone. As soon as I said that, James took the phone and said, "He's not alone tonight. Go away and look for someone else." The man's eyes didn't change, but his smile faded. He continued to stare up for about 30 seconds, and then turned around and walked into the street. Me and James continued to watch the camera until we could no longer see him. Since James stayed with me that night, I have not encountered that man again. I have no idea what he was or what he was trying to do, but I do know that it was nothing good. That I could tell. I could see it when his smile left him after James spoke, saying I wasn't alone.